Hello, everyone. So, this is a continuation on corporations and what are they really and how are they alluded to in the Bible. And more, I am seeing these patterns between physical constructs and spiritual metaphorical constructs. And so, in reflecting on these things I noticed with the language, with the man of lawlessness, this man and these images like I had made in the earlier ones about corporations, I something triggered in my memory as I was going to sleep. And I really want to share it with you because it has to do with the account when Jesus, entered the temple and he drove out the ones that were buying and selling in the temple. He overturned the tables, it said, of the money changers and the seats of those who were selling doves. So there's like four different passages, like Matthew, Mark, John, and two scriptures in John that use the phrase money changers. Money changers in the temple. So now, why did this catch my eye? Because remember, it said of that man of lawlessness that he sits himself down in the temple of God. So now, of course, it's probably pretty natural for us to think literal temples. But what's important is the Bible does describe the believer, because we have spirit or soul, as a living stone. So I'm going to read this to you. So in 1 Peter 2 and 5, he says that, first of all, that Jesus, it says, and coming to him as to a living stone, which has been rejected by men, but is choice and precious in the sight of God. So Jesus is this first living stone. And then it says, you also, as living stones, are being built up as a spiritual house for a holy priesthood to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God through Jesus Christ. So this spiritual state, which I feel is really, again, the metaphor for our species maturing, entering into this mature state. But before that happens, it says that that man of lawlessness has to get revealed. So then I was reflecting on these accounts where Jesus literally went into the temple, literally engaged these money changers, to see what might be gleaned. So something did catch my eye. First of all, it said, then they came to Jerusalem. Well, we have this promise of this new Jerusalem, which again is a metaphor in my opinion, that is made out of beautiful, precious gemstones that have the names of the faithful writ on them. So it's like we're a living stone, but in God's eyes, we're a living gemstone that we are coming together almost like organically, like in a body. All of our cells are symbiotically living together, and every cell finding its place and contributing to the greater whole. So the fact that this happened when he came to Jerusalem, and then it says he entered the temple. So what's the temple? Is it society? Is the temple the sentient beings, humanity? And he began to drive out those who were buying and selling in the temple. Now remember, buying and selling is referenced in Revelation regarding Babylon the Great, that great city. And then it says, buying and selling, and overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who were selling. And then it says they had cattle, they had sheep. Again, is what was said of Babylon the Great. Same thing. They were trading all kinds of stock, and people are also referred to as sheep. Okay? And so in John, there's one more little phrase that's added. He drove out those who were selling the doves, and he said, "Take these things away. Stop making my Father's house a place of business." And it's like, and what has happened to our planet? Our planet is this beautiful gift, a place for life to thrive. And what's happened? Everything's been commodified. Everything. It's like we can't enter into this sacred relationship with our provider and creator without these money changers sitting right at the door, right at the entrance of everything we want to do to interact with the living force of of all creation. That is, that really caught my eye. Because, again, it seems that if we can look at Christ arriving on the scene as a symbol for the awakened who are entering into their sovereignty, into their inheritance, understanding that this planet is really meant for everyone equally, fairly, justly. And at the moment that this first living stone, when he came into his power, realizing, he was like, had become into the awareness of how things were meant to be, one of the first things he did was interact with these money changers that were turning the temple into a place of business. And what do we see? What do we see happening now on earth? So similar. You see, so this pattern. So again, to me, when he did this, it happened quick. He made these like a cord, and it was probably because he was driving them out, like getting the animals out, getting the oxen out and tipping over their tables. It's like the 1 hour. They had probably developed that system. It had got really elaborate, just like what we have now, this very elaborate system of paperwork and all for controlling the money. And then boom, in 1 hour. In 1 hour they were driven out. So I think that is something that is very significant, again, to pin us where we are in the cyclical pattern of awakening and transformation. And just like, here's another example. When the Israelites first went out of Egypt, they went straight across the wilderness to the Jordan River. And 12 spies went across, and then they came back, and 10 spies were pretty pessimistic, and we don't think we can do it, and this isn't going to work, and they got giants there. And then there was 2 spies that said, no, we can do this. But the nation, the majority, faltered. They didn't have the confidence that it could be accomplished, because they were just looking at the physical side of the equation, and perhaps didn't have enough experience in the relationship with spirit or source or the quantum field. So those first 2 witnesses weren't listened to, okay? And then they had to be 40 years, and then the whole cycle again repeated. And they came to the Jordan, and then the 2 witnesses went across again, but and they hid in this house of Rahab. But then they did believe and trust. And so then they crossed. And so when I said that I believe we're at this moment of that 2 witness, okay? So like, how are you a witness? It's based what you see, what you hear, okay? Maybe what you feel, maybe what you smell. So our perception of reality, we're witnessing, okay? We're witnessing. And so then what I perceive is that with Jesus, when he was here with John the Baptist, that was that cycle repeating, because John and Jesus were baptized in the Jordan River, which was symbolic again of the nation of Israel coming to the edge, coming to the moment, the potential moment of paradigm shift. Because I think this is really important. We got to understand that these moments for accelerated transition and transformation and change seem to come at select choice points. Okay? That's what this is so important with recognizing these patterns, because the more we can recognize the pattern, the more confident we can be. So then we can be a witness for change. We can be an empowering witness. We can say, yes, we can do this, and we can have solid reasons to base our statements on, okay? Like not a, well, I'm not sure, like a doubting witness. It was foggy and clear and I didn't really hear. No, not that kind of witness. We want to be clear. We want to go, and the most important thing to be clear is for ourselves. Can we see it for ourselves? Okay, so then what happened way back 2,000 years ago, let's say John and Jesus were those two witnesses again. And again, what happened is, even though there was a significant amount of people that did listen to the spiritual change, unfortunately, the majority did not think it could be done. Very similar to what happened to the nation of Israel when they were in the wilderness. And so instead of it being 40 years, it's been a few thousand years. But for me, all the studying I've done, we are back at the water event. I mean, even entering the age of Aquarius. What is the age of Aquarius? A man with a jar pouring water? I mean, it's a water event, even astrologically. I mean, I missed that. I just realized I was listening to someone else. Okay, so again, what I think we're at is the reemergence of the two witnesses, but each of us. You see, it's like the outer body, our physical body, is sort of like representative of John the Baptist, the physical half of ourself, and Christ represents that inner spiritual child. So in us, we have our spirit, our knowing, our heart, our emotions, our intuition, that part of us, and then the outer world. And we are synchronizing these two. And we are becoming, let us be a confident witness. Let us be sure, right? And so that's why I believe we are at the moment. We are at the moment, the crossing of the Jordan, the Jericho walls falling down, the man of lawlessness, the 1 hour of Babylon, the great merchant system of exploitation. All of it is now. We're in it. We are in the transition moment now. And I hope that all makes sense. I know sometimes I jump around, but I hope this is a good one for you.